If your hair has ever felt flat, thin, unhealthy, or just doesn't cooperate, this is the video that I wish I had had years ago, because those are things I struggle with too. Today, I'm sharing the hair care products that I repurchase the most as a dermatologist who specializes in hair loss. And I don't repurchase something unless it really works. If you're new here, hi, I'm Dr. Sam Ellis. I'm a board-certified dermatologist practicing in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I created this channel to give you all my tips and tricks in terms of how to take the best care of your skin and hair, so that even if you aren't my patient, you can have access to expert insights. If you've been here before, you know I have been on my own journey with hair shedding, alopecia, and regrowth. And I feel like I've really figured some things out, and I'm excited to share my tips. Now, if I'm gonna spend my money on a hair care product and then go and repurchase it, it has to do at least one of four things: make my hair feel healthier, make my hairstyle look better, or be easier to style, help balance my scalp, or help me grow my hair. If it is not doing one of those things and doing it really well, I'm not going to bother. So let's get into it. Starting off with some instant results styling products here. If I want my hair to look better in like 10 seconds, I will always reach for my Orbi Dry Texturizing Spray. It's kind of like if dry shampoo and hairspray had a perfect little baby. It gives enough grit to add that instant volume, but does not weigh the hair down at all. If you have fine or thin hair that tends to fall flat, I feel like this will absolutely elevate your hair game. So you use this on dry hair. It's usually the thing I will like end my style with. And I will put it sort of at the roots to the mid-lengths and then sort of fluff it up with my fingertips. I like it because it helps keep my hair off of my scalp a little bit, and it just adds this sort of effortless look to the hair, which I know my hair looks like a little bit more done on camera, but also day to day, I don't want it to look like I put effort in, even though I did a little bit. And there are a lot of brands that make a dry texturizing spray, but I just think Orbi does it so well. It's that perfect weight. It smells absolutely divine. And what I really like about it is I can use it multiple days in a row without it building up and feeling heavy. So not only can I use it on a fresh style, but I can use it to revive hair that is like 2 or 3 days post W wash. Another styling product that I was introduced to just this past year, but have already repurchased, is the K18 dry shampoo. I am so picky about dry shampoo. First and foremost, it needs to make my hair feel clean. I cannot tell you how many dry shampoos I have purchased and used, and at the end of me styling with them, I'm like, I probably should have just washed my hair. Whereas with this, I can literally take a grease down hairstyle, spritz in the K18, and you don't need a lot. And the hair really does look washed. Now, it doesn't feel super smooth, like there is some grit to this product, and if you touch it, you're going to be able to tell that this is not freshly washed hair, but it looks like it. Definitely, of all the dry shampoos I have ever tried, this one makes oiliness disappear the most effectively. And you don't need a ton of product. You just do like one little spritz into each section of your hair. Wait like 30 seconds, massage it in. It's pretty magical. If I had to rate this on a scale of 1 to 10, I would give it like a 9.5, which is very generous for me because I'm really picky about things. But the only thing I dock points for is that when you spray it, it can leave a little bit of white residue. So if you're wearing dark clothing or you have dark countertops, you will see a little bit of that fallout. So if I am going to use it, I make sure I'm not wearing the top that I intend to wear out into the world. Otherwise, it will look like I have dandruff. But in terms of what it actually does for your hair, 10 out of 10. Also, I have a small bone to pick with people who say you should use your dry shampoo at night. And I think the thinking around this is you're going to produce more oils as you sleep. And so the dry shampoo sort of absorbs that as you sleep. But that has not been my true lived experience. I find when I apply it at night, my source for, my hair just wakes up feeling kind of like heavy and gritty and doesn't look that great. So I like to apply dry shampoo right before I need my hair to look good. And that is usually in the morning. So those are products I use to make my hair look better immediately. But if you want your hair to grow healthier and to be stronger, all of that starts at the scalp. I talk about this with my hair loss patients all the time. If you have a congested, irritated, inflamed scalp, that is not a healthy environment for hair to grow in. The scalp is like the soil for your hair, and you want good soil in your hair garden. And when it comes to scalp health, using the right shampoo can actually be very important. The shampoo that I personally use and repurchase the most, and probably recommend to my patients the most, whether they have dandruff or seborrheic dermatitis or androgenetic alopecia, which is male or female pattern balding, is ketoconazole shampoo and over-the-counter that is Nicerol. Ketoconazole is an antifungal that targets malassezia, which is a yeast that naturally occurs on everyone's scalp. But in some people, that yeast can overgrow. And in some of those people, it can cause irritation or inflammation that shows up as dandruff, or the technical term for this is seborrheic dermatitis. So for that reason, it is very good at helping people who struggle with an itchy or flaky scalp. Now, I don't personally have dandruff, but I still use ketoconazole shampoo because it has this other interesting component to how it works in that it is a mild anti-androgen. It helps block DHT, dihydrotestosterone, which is the main hormone that drives female and male pattern hair loss. Our bodies all naturally create DHT, and it can negatively impact the hair follicle. It can make the hair follicle shrink down and eventually make that hair fall out. So, when I am thinking about hair loss treatments, doing things to block that DHT signal can be helpful in terms of preserving your hair. So ketoconazole is one of the ways I do that. I use it essentially every time I wash my hair, and you do want it to sit on your scalp for a little while. So I like to make sure I focus it on the roots and massage it there and then let it sit for 2 to 3 minutes. The main downside of ketoconazole shampoos is that they tend to be kind of drying. So I really try to focus it just on my scalp and avoid it really getting washed up in my mid-lengths and ends. So Nicerol shampoo is great. It's super affordable. It can help with dandruff and hair thinning. And if you have dandruff and hair thinning, this is the single best thing I think you could have in your routine. I cycle through a lot of shampoos. I get gifted a lot of things as a dermatologist and sort of working in the influencing space. But the other shampoo I have repurchased so many times is relatively new, and that is the Move Full Follicle shampoo. In terms of price, accessibility, and the very comprehensive ingredient list, I think this is one of the best hair loss shampoos that you can get right now. It has caffeine, acetyl tetrapeptide 3, a growth factor complex, red clover extract, a bunch of ingredients that have actually been fairly well studied when it comes to improving follicle metabolism, doing a little bit of DHT blocking, and also anchoring the hair in the follicle so that it doesn't want to shed as readily. I also find this to be a very gentle shampoo. So if someone finds Nicerol to be a bit too drying, this is a great option. I use both in my routine. I will often do a double cleanse of my scalp, where I will use Nicerol first, and then I will go in with this afterward. And that not only makes my hair super clean and healthy, but I get sort of this double hit of hair growth stimulation on my wash day. So in terms of what I use in the shower, those are my 2 ride or dies. I would not say that I have a most repurchased conditioner. There are so many great conditioners out there, and there is not one that I feel like has truly moved the needle so much more for me than other things that I would go and repurchase it above everything else. Now, when it comes to conditioning things that I do for my hair outside of the shower, that is a different story. I am loyal. I have a small obsession with the Unite 7 Seconds Detangler. I have been talking about this product on this channel for years because it just is so consistently amazing, and nothing has really topped it for me. Not only does it detangle your hair really well, it makes styling so much more easy because it reduces the breakage when you are brushing your hair, and it has heat protection up to 450 degrees. It's like all the things I could want. I love that this is in a nice spray bottle, so it's really easy to get an even coat of my hair. And this is particularly good if you have fine or limp hair. I feel like a lot of heat protectants can make the hair feel oily or weigh it down, and this just keeps your hair having all the volume it was naturally going to have, but it also protects it and it doesn't feel sticky or gross afterward. I use it on my son. I use it on me. A lot of you have bought this for your kids after I recommended it because it's really good for kid hair, and it doesn't have a really overwhelming scent. It is just best all around. So for me, this always goes on damp towel dried hair. But sometimes when I take my hair out of my hair towel, it's kind of clumped together and I'm worried about tangles. So I will just sort of spray this through my hair, and then I will go in with a wide tooth comb, or sometimes even just my fingers, to sort of rake out any knots or tangles. And it helps so much with that process. If you use a blow dryer or a curling iron or a straightener regularly in your routine, you should be using a heat protectant. And sometimes I think people avoid heat protectants because they don't want their hair to be weighed down in any way. And that is where the Unite 7 Seconds Detangler really shines. I don't feel like I see a ton of creators talking about Unite as a hair care brand, but they make some of my absolute favorite products, because another one I was going to talk about in this video and that I have repurchased many times is their volumizing mousse. I think one of the biggest mistakes people make when they are styling their hair and why their hair doesn't look as good as when they have it done professionally in the salon is because they don't use nearly enough products or enough product when they are doing their hair. If you have flat, limp hair and you are not using a volumizing mousse, you must try it. I know a mousse kind of feels a little bit 80s and old school, but this volumizing mousse is so good. You put a little bit into your palm and I just kind of rake it through my roots after I wash, and then when you blow dry, you get this beautiful volume up at the roots that just looks really natural and kind of prevents your hair from falling flat over time. The other thing I really like about this mousse is that your hair still feels soft afterward. Like, it's totally touchable. It's in my hair right now and I can like rake my hands through my hair and it's not like my fingers are getting stuck or dragged down in product. I also find that when I use a mousse, I actually don't have to wash my hair as frequently because it adds so much volume at my roots that my hair is not sitting and getting stuck to my scalp oils. So I have a little bit of air between all my hairs up here, and that makes my style last a lot longer. I remember posting about this mousse on my Instagram stories. It might have been like 2 or 3 years ago. And then I got a couple DMs from girls I went to college with that were like, that mousse is insane. I got so many compliments at work today. So if you're not used to styling with product, try it. It can make such a big difference in how confident you feel with your hair and how much volume you have. The other thing I use very consistently to correct and protect my hair and have repurchased many times is the K18 Molecular Repair Mask. This is a bond repair mask that you apply after the shower. Typically what you do is you shampoo, you rinse out your shampoo, you don't put conditioner in, you towel dry your hair, and then you go in and put in the K18 and you let that sit for 4 minutes and it acts as your kind of conditioning and repairing agent. For some people, they will want to go in after that 4 minutes with a separate conditioner, and that's fine. But for my hair, I just shampoo, get out of the shower, put this in, and it works great on its own. I think K18 as a brand is the most famous for this specific product. It uses their patented K18 peptide, which essentially goes in and penetrates the hair fiber to repair broken keratin chains. So your hair is made up of keratin. That is the protein that composes it. And those keratin chains can break. And that's what makes your hair look dry or dull or gives you split ends. And so this product actually can enter the hair shaft and repair from the inside out. Even though I bleach my hair and I heat style my hair for many years, I did nothing to repair the bonds within my hair and my hair was fine. But then I tried K18 and I was like, oh, my hair could have been doing so much better this entire time, because when it repaired those keratin chains, the first thing I noticed is that my hair texture came back. So my natural hair texture is sort of like wavy and it's a pretty nice wave. But after years of bleaching and styling, my hair texture was sort of this like flat, frizzy. It just was very unappealing. So when I use my K18, I see my hair texture return. And then it's so much shinier and bouncier after I style it because I'm refortifying those keratin chains periodically. My hair is able to grow longer and healthier and not keep breaking off in the middle. If you're new to K18, they recommend you use it for 4 consecutive washes to sort of kick off your journey and then use it as maintenance thereafter. So at this point in my hair care routine, I use K18 about once a month. So everything I just mentioned covers styling and protection, but I do want to get into the things that I use and repurchase and recommend to my patients to help with hair growth. First up is the Move Full Follicle Serum. I know I talked about their shampoo a little bit earlier, but their scalp serum is also, I think, quite special. And I'm not sponsored by May Love. I've never done a partnership with them. I just think they make very thoughtful, science-backed products. And again, I don't mean to keep bringing up cost, but I do feel like for hair growth things, which are things you should be using consistently and sort of indefinitely if you have a chronic hair loss condition like male or female ellipsia, it's really important to keep in mind whether this is something that's reasonable for you to keep in your routine. So I really appreciate that their hair serum is very reasonably priced and it has so many good things in it. The red clover extract with the acetyl tetrapeptide 3, caffeine. It also has panthenol and antioxidants like vitamin E and resveratrol and green tea, which are going to help with the health and sort of the environment of your scalp. And the reason I like having the separate serum in addition to the shampoo is the 1 day a week that I usually don't put my products on is the day I am shampooing because I have like a fresh, clean scalp. So I don't like to go in and put serums on that day. But then I can go in the subsequent days with the serums to give my scalp that exposure to those great ingredients. And I like that this is not particularly oily. Yeah, I feel like anytime you're putting on a scalp serum, you're getting your scalp and the roots of your hair a little bit wet. So I do feel like I have to do a little bit of restyling after I use any of my scalp serums, but there are scalp serums or hair growth serums I've tried in the past that are so oily that I immediately feel like I have to wash my hair, put it in a slick back to go in public. And this particular serum is often an option I talk about with my patients if maybe they're not ready for prescription minoxidil yet, or maybe they're pregnant or breastfeeding and they can't be on minoxidil. This one's great and is complementary to minoxidil if you're also on that as well. The other non-prescription hair serum that I rebuy a lot because I use it, but my husband also uses it, is from the brand One Skin. I actually talked about this serum quite a bit in my video where I was teaching you about things you can do besides minoxidil to help grow your hair. This uses their patented OS1 peptide, which is really targeted at something called senescent cells in the scalp. These are basically cells that get old and kind of fall asleep and then wreak havoc on their surrounding environment. And this helps clear those senescent cells out of the way and kind of modulate the scalp environment so it's more ideal for optimal hair growth. So when we're thinking about like hair and scalp longevity, this is the serum that comes to mind because it's not just about stimulating hair growth, but also making the scalp a more favorable environment to grow healthy hair. And the reason I like it is because it helps me tolerate my minoxidil better. I felt like before I started using this, my scalp would get quite itchy with my minoxidil, which I could use a topical steroid for. But once I started incorporating this, I tolerated my minoxidil so much better. And last, but certainly not least, I could not do a most repurchased hair video without talking about 5% topical minoxidil. If there was one product on this list that has the most robust clinical evidence for it, it is this. And I won't go too much into the mechanisms of minoxidil here. I have so many videos on this channel that dive deep into minoxidil, why it works, who it's good for. But I just wanted you to know that it is my most repurchased hair thing because I go through a bottle every few months and I have been on minoxidil now almost 2 full years. And when I started it with the intention of being on it indefinitely. And that is how all hair growth things work. If they are working to help you keep your hair, you need to stay on them in order to continue to get those benefits. The same way that if you work out at the gym and you grow muscles, you need to continue to work out at the gym to keep those muscles. Over the past couple of years, I have dabbled in both the foam version and the solution version. The foam version is usually better if people have a sensitive scalp. It's less irritating, but I actually find the solution to be a little bit easier for me to use personally. So I've probably repurchased the solution the most, and I just get generic minoxidil. This is not the place to go name brand. I would say it probably took me about 6 months into using topical minoxidil to really start to appreciate the benefits. But since then, it has helped my hair so much. Like you can go back and watch my YouTube videos from 2-3 years ago. You will see my hair did not look like this. And actually recently, a lot of you have been writing in my comments, do you have extensions? Which I just take as like the biggest compliment. But there are no extensions in here, baby. Wow, I really just messed up my hair, but I had to prove the point, and I don't want to demonize extensions. I actually talk about them a lot with my patients who have thinning hair. We talk about extensions and wigs as well, but I don't need them right now, and I feel really excited about that. So those are my most repurchased hair care products. What I hope you glean from this video is that you do not need a 10-step hair care routine. You really need to look at your hair and figure out, what do I need the most? Do I need to work on my scalp? Do I need to work on the integrity of the hair fiber itself? Do I need to work on the styling and then purchase products according to that? I would love to know in the comments what your biggest hair concern is. I read all of my comments, and if you have not subscribed to this channel, this would be a great time to do so. I cover hair health, scalp health, and of course skin and nails here, and I don't want you to miss a video. Thank you so much for being here, and I will catch you in my next one.